Hey everyone, welcome to Logan's Mosh Pit. Glad to have you here. Do me a favor and please subscribe if you haven't already. Today we're going to do another episode of the Setlist Snubs series. In this series we're going to go through a few songs from different bands that don't get played live very much. However, I'm going to give you some reasons why I feel like those underrated songs actually deserve to get played live more often than they do. If there's someone specific you guys want me to cover in a future episode of this series, whether it be a band or a solo artist, please comment down below. I'll check your feedback. Today we're going to circulate through some forgotten Who favorites. I invited a special guest to assist me. He's a Who expert. He knows the Who better than they know themselves. Let me go get him. Who? Man, he's good. In all seriousness, the rock world would look vastly different compared to the way it currently does without the Who's wonderful intervention. They resembled a lantern revealing a path for the more husky variant of music that became commonplace in the 70s. Despite debuting 55 years ago, I certainly wouldn't categorize their music as archaic. It's kinda interesting because their sound seems very by the book. You can hear traditional tracks. They didn't add too much unnecessary junk. Totally natural. At the risk of coming across as a dinosaur, there's a huge reason why I'm partial to old school tunes. I believe a lot of bands today try too hard to turn listeners into fans. They get so caught up in emulating what's popular among youngsters that songs feel overly refined. They miss the point. That's a problem I have with the sizable amount of modern groups. But the Who wanted to be themselves. Relevancy wasn't their top priority. They experimented some, but they understood when to stop. Hopefully that makes sense. They're the epitome of a lost breed, if you will. Something you hardly see anymore. Before I unpack my underrated Who songs, I want to do my mandatory spiel regarding reasons why all bands, not just the Who, allow a select few songs to cut in front of the line at shows and send the rest to the back of the line. I blather on about these reasons every single time to help new viewers get acquainted with the Setlist Snubs series, but if you've been here before, I ask that you skip ahead a few minutes. The first reason is casual fans are on cloud nine when they listen to a band's biggest hits. For the Who, this includes Baba O'Reilly, Behind Blue Eyes, Who Are You, etc. For casual fans, the road ends here. Convinced that the band's whole reputation can be identified based on a few tunes. That's not true at all. Another reason would be untold pressure stemming from fans and even fellow band members pretty much locks bands in place, freezes the set list where it's at. No outliers allowed. Their goal is to keep the majority of fans in attendance pleased. The pressure tells them the best way to do that is to play songs everyone feels comfortable with. Afterward, if fans leave in a good mood, the odds of them getting tickets to a show scheduled later climbs considerably. Reason 3 harkens back to songs which live on albums that didn't sell as well versus competing albums. Realistically, those songs face little or no chance of appearing at concerts consistently since most fans would reject them. The fourth reason relates to a situation where a band gets so fed up with one of their own tracks that they purposely rip it off the set list. This usually happens due to tremendous repetition. Reason 5 involves a crucial distinction between casual and hardcore fans. Casual fans occupy far greater space compared to hardcore fans. There's more of them. Therefore, casual fans influence bands they follow at a higher rate than hardcore fans. The final reason covers Disqualified Songs. These songs receive many enhancements within the studio. So, when the time comes to go on stage, they can't cope with those demands. It doesn't even sound like the same song. Stages are really primitive from a technological perspective. They don't have what you would find in a studio. That explains the difference. Now let's slide past the reasons into some fascinating Who stats I became aware of thanks to Setlist.fm. I'll put a link to Setlist.fm in the description. To get to Setlist.fm normally, just go to Google, type in any band or solo artist you want, plus the words tour statistics, and tap on the top search result. Soon you'll be in music utopia, greeted by all the information you could ask for about songs, albums, and tours. According to Setlist.fm, The Who entered the touring arena in 1962. Can you believe that? Fast forward to present day, and Won't Get Fooled Again proudly stands as their top song, the CSI Miami theme. Sir, the victim was killed by a vacuum cleaner. I guess you could say this sucks. Yeah! It comes in at a staggering 898 times. To put this number in perspective, picture this. You decided to listen to Won't Get Fooled Again 898 times in a row, non-stop without any breaks whatsoever. How long would it take you? Who knows? I hate math. 460,674 seconds is the answer, or 5.3 days. So long, stats. Who's finally ready to learn about a few underappreciated Who tunes? I picked 5 of them, each belonging to a different album. I ranked them in descending order, and I'll leave a link to all 5 songs in the description. Please leave other underrated Who tracks in the comments. Why don't we start with a track called Bargain, available on the Who's Next album. Bargain has bribed its way into approximately 240 different concerts, barely 27% when stacked against number 1, Won't Get Fooled Again. Nevertheless, I find Bargain to be one of the most luxurious offerings on that marvelous album. It features rather romantic lyrics which suits Roger Daltrey's warm tone perfectly. I like how as he gets more serious, the instrumentals sort of dial back, give him room to speak. I was thoroughly impressed by the songwriting chops presented with Bargain, particularly the line, "In life, 1 and 1 don't make 2, 1 and 1 make 1. Having that amount of ingenuity in one piece is astounding. It's flowery enough to appease softies, but also rugged enough to earn that rock and roll moniker. Next, Helpless Dancer, which should be my username on TikTok, gets to show us its moves bound from the Quadrophenia album. Helpless Dancer has enthralled audiences on 143 occasions. Let me say, if Helpless Dancer had a personality, it would surely be an extrovert. It bursts in with an erratic piano number sandwiched between a calming humming. It very much sheds light on what's wrong with society. I think it's trying to say the way an individual's self-perception determines how the world will look. Damaged folks manifest a damaged environment. It feels as though each banging piano key rouses you to additional problems, keeps adding additional weight onto the listener's shoulders. Helpless Dancer lacks structure, basically a disarray of trash flung onto the ground. Just one long, continuous verse. Near the end, the cause of all this dismay is belted out. You stop dancing. So, follow Gwen Stefani's advice. Keep on dancing. Now we're going to do some real deep-cut dumpster diving. Sensation, debuting on Tommy, has a lucky number 7, but it's not. It has only been seen outside of the studio 7 times. Well, I guess the 7 crowds who heard it were the lucky ones. By the way, do you think the Tommy album cover looks like blueberry pie? I do. Sensation retains the classic Who short, sweeping formula. It's a pretty happy-go-lucky song. I kind of hear the Beatles bleeding through. Sensations definitely wouldn't feel out of place in those early Scooby-Doo chase scenes. The lead singer may come across as possessing a super inflated ego, talking about captivating throngs of people effortlessly. However, I believe he's simultaneously referring to everything a human could possibly put on a pedestal in life. Love, fame, money, etc. We want to believe we're in control, but are we really? When we choose to neglect everything that matters for the sake of one temporary high? After Sensation dissipates, Out in the Street comes knocking. Unfortunately, this hidden gem, derived from my generation, barely registers. One lonely performance is all it has ever received and probably will ever receive. Personally, Out in the Street holds an advantage over my other 4 choices. I adore the opening notes which ripple out along the water. Even though this was the Who's first go-round, it appeared, at least to me, that they work well together. No sloppiness to speak of. It's cool how the jagged vocals butt heads with the squeaky clean "no, no, no's." Not to mention, Out in the Street displays a graceful mingling of harmonies the Who would bring to new heights later on. The Who settled on a simple yet reliable pattern throughout the song. A pattern of 3s. Dun, dun, dun. You can copy the pattern with your body. Dun dun dun. Of course, the unsung hero, the legendary Keith Moon, hinted at his fast and furious style, and it would only improve as The Who grew up. Finally, Love Is Coming Down, leaking from the widely acclaimed Who Are You, suffers a goose egg on the live tally board. Love Is Coming Down shares a few thematic similarities with Bargain, yet I formed a stronger connection with this one. I mean, it's extremely difficult to make it through the verses without shedding a tear. I could barely hold back the tears. Roger's pain voice comes close to cracking. Then, unexpectedly, the backing vocals poke their heads out. I laughed because it reminded me of the Wiggles' Fruit Salad song. Remember, the first step? They blended in their signature Who thoughtful questioning. I'm not a loser, but did I really win? The Who were masters of wearing their heart on their sleeve. I especially enjoyed the fluttering synthesizer. It helped Love Is Coming Down hit close to home. In retrospect, it turns even sadder when you realize that this was the final Who album before Keith Moon self-destructed. I can't think of a more moving tribute to him than Love Is Coming Down. That does it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate the support. I'll see you next time. Until then, rock on.